feeling like a shark in a shrimp tank. Big fish, small pond in the shrimp tank.
Welcome back, everybody. Had a great show today with Nellie Corriveau from the Wealthy Queen Movement. Just had an awesome show and was one of our first guests on the show that's had a business like Nellie that's started at a young age, entrepreneurial, with her foundation work for pediatric cancer research. So, John, I know you're going to kick us off with a question, but just it's been a pleasure today. So thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. Let's hang out all day.
So, Nellie, one of the things we got into in depth on the podcast is that many entrepreneurs, especially solopreneurs, especially early stage businesses, they're working nonstop. Mm-hmm. And you talked about this concept of hustling with harmony.
Yes.
Tell us a little more about that.
Yes, I think we live in a very much a hustle culture where keep working harder and harder and harder and you'll get there, but that causes a ton of burnout. And then there's the opposite side where it's let it flow, let it, come naturally to you, attraction marketing. And that's more of truly a feminine energy. So I like to be in the middle. So hustle with harmony feels so much better to me because I lived in such a hustle mentality for so many years and it burnt me out, but also got me to where I am. So I don't want to discount it. So that has been more in alignment with me of the harmony of it. So what does that look like? It's not working 24/7, right? Not feeling like, my worth is attached to my business. I get to separate them, and really just knowing that this journey is happening for me and we're going to reach everyone that we need to rather than living in scarcity mindset. So it's so much mindset work, really. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's mindset hands down.
Sort of leading into that, one of the things we talked about in the pre-show was, why is it important for women to have a seat at the financial table?
So many reasons. One, women statistically outlive men. So if you're married, then you're most likely going to outlive your male partner if you have a male partner. And then if you're clueless on what to do, that could be really scary. If you're single, equally scary. And if you get a divorce, also scary. So it's really understanding, even if none of those situations apply to you, you deserve to understand what wealth can do for you, and it's your responsibility and no one else's, whether you're in a relationship or not. And really, that education piece, it starts to get really sexy when you start to understand things. Like when I coach women that have a lot of debt, there's a lot of shame around it and judgment, and I coach them through let's attack this head on, and this conversation is going to get way sexier because you're going to start seeing that number go down. And you're going to start feeling more free, and that confidence starts to shine, and you start to think about I can really do this, and you start to see what's possible, and you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. And so once you can start to understand the fundamentals, it can really become really fun.
That's great.
Well, last question from me.
Yeah.
I can't believe we didn't just do a whole podcast on this topic, but you started NC4K, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting children, pediatric cancer, children with pediatric cancer. But you were also able to transition out of that. So you built this up enough that you could then step away from the business and it's still going in the background. How did that process go? Because I know a lot of our listeners are in the weeds, in the day-to-day, and the thought of, someone else can run this one day is so far from them.
Very, very far. And I was one of them. I was this is it, NC4K for life. But when I started to do the personal development, I started to see what was possible and really step into more leadership skills and understanding no, I don't have to be in the day-to-day for this organization to run successfully. And I think it's, I ran it for 10 years and we had so much amazing success that I started to finally acknowledge wow, look what we did. I honestly didn't even realize it until I was on maternity leave. I was what just happened over the past 10 years? You're just always in it. And, it was first expanding my thinking in my mind that this can be a win-win, and then starting to align myself with mentors to help guide me. And it took 1.5 years for the transition to come alive. And, it's not just hey, I'm going to put in my 2 weeks. It's so I had to, enroll my board members in why this was beneficial to the organization and share my vision for my family. And we had to go through the interview process and man, does that, like, the phrase trust the process, like, came up so much in that, because it's scary. It's my baby. Like, I put my blood, sweat, and tears, my own money into it, and, never wanted anything in return but just to continue to bless families. It would have crushed me if the organization would have fallen apart. And so that was the biggest worry, but you can't let that stop you. And you have to trust that you're putting people in place that can support it. And it's been phenomenal. Like, we've been able to support more families because it's not reliant on one person. So I think, impact is what entrepreneurs want. And too often they think, well, that means I have to sacrifice myself. So I really had to break up with that story and create a new one.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Nellie, we had an absolute blast. It's a great episode. Everyone should go check it out wherever they can get their podcasts. So Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Music, Stitcher. That's one. Are we on Twitch? I don't think so.
No.
Maybe.
No, I don't think so.
If you're looking to find out more about Nellie Corriveau, you can go to wealthyqueenmovement.com, nc4k.com.
.org for NC4K. Yep.
If you're interested in supporting NC4K.
Yes.
Nellie, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
Phil,
me.
myself, for
Thank you.
Branda on the ones and twos. Thanks for joining us. We'll see everyone next week.
See you guys.